Whew. So we're live. Hey guys, thanks everybody for joining me. I've got guys in the chat. Wow, we've already got 79 people. First of all, let me apologize for the state of the office today. Well, yesterday we closed officially. I just came into the office to do some last minute kind of shipping. So the office is a little bit of a mess. We're completely empty. The watchmakers aren't here. John's working from home. Our salesperson's working from home. Our photographer is here, actually. Shout out to Carlos, taking a couple last minute pictures in the other room. But yeah, it's pretty abandoned at the moment, and I'm gonna get out of here in a few minutes. Also, just a little shout out to Josh Thanos from Watchbox. I was supposed to stream live with him right now, but last minute technical difficulties didn't allow for it. But Josh and I are good friends, and I'm sure we're gonna make that happen at some point during our quarantine. So yeah, guys, for anybody that wonders, just a quick little Delray watch update. We are still selling. Just your shipments may be delayed. We've decided to send all our staff home. Better safe than sorry, but always reach out to us. We'll make it happen. I'm going to go in myself, a couple days a week to make sure all the orders are fulfilled. All right, guys. So yeah, live stream. Whoa, somebody's sending me money. Rick, thank you so much. Completely not necessary at all, but thank you. So yeah, obviously, guys, COVID-19, everybody's at home stuck, everything's shutting down. Rolex announced their factory shutting down for at least 10 days. Patek Philippe announced their factory shutting down. Hublot announced this morning as well. Pretty much we can all just imagine that they're all shutting down. And I can tell you it's going to be a lot more than 10 days. Oh, but before I get started, of course, wristwatch check, wearing the H. Moser Venture Concept Arctic Blue, my latest watch purchase. Gotta love it. Moser keeping me company. Actually was speaking to Ed Milan very briefly on Instagram this morning. He's also closing, so I wish all my best and my love to my friends over at Moser. But yeah, I mean, 10 days, that's what Rolex announced. Obviously, that is going to be nowhere near how long it's going to be closed for. I'm really estimating at least 30 days. Production is stopped. But you know what? I don't know what that really means for the watch market. I don't think much, because I don't think many people right now are really looking to buy a Rolex necessarily. I think at times like these, we need to worry about our neighbors, staff, employees, and I think it was absolutely the right decision. Now, we've also been speaking with a lot of dealers, a lot of collectors. I think when it comes to the watch market right now, the key is to not panic, right? I mean, yeah, market might take a little bit of a tumble. Prices might go a little lower, but it's just no need to panic at the moment. This is a purely temporary situation. I think we should start normalizing again in 2 to 3 months. But yeah, I mean, listen, if you're a buyer, now is a pretty good opportunity, right? Because you may be able to get some decent deals. I'm not talking 50, 40% off, but you might see prices go down 10, 15%. That's absolutely normal. But I think most dealers right now, they're just trying to keep cash reserves on hand, trying to ride this out. I know a lot of us are small businesses. For example, we are going to keep paying all our staff for as long as we're closed. And that obviously costs money. So we're doing our best to make sure we ride this out as much as possible. Let's see here in the comments. Greetings from Singapore, from Tokyo 997. Floating Man, lol, it's not a 2 to 3 month situation. Well, Floating Man, I really don't know. I'm not a scientist nor an expert. I think we're going to take it one day at a time. We can hope for the best, but prepare for the worst. At least that's what they say. Dr. Zachary Smith, me too, waiting a long time for a new Date Just 41. Well, unfortunately, Zachary, I think you're going to have to wait a little bit longer. However, don't fret. I'm sure, at some point you will definitely pick one up. Brandon Lau says, did you meet Wei Ko? I did meet him about 3 weeks ago at a Zenith event in Miami. I've never met him before. We don't know each other well, but over a few drinks and Zenith's new release, which they announced here in Miami, I did meet him. Very, very nice guy. One of the most humble people I met, especially for how big he is in the watch industry. So it was a real pleasure to meet him. Let me see. Madison, New York, Pepsi prices are already dipping a touch on Chrono 24. Madison, I think that is normal, even though I don't think it's the apocalypse. I think you'll see prices go down a little bit, but I wouldn't expect them to drop a ton. Hey, we have Elliot Goldman here. Elliot, I used to work with him over at Watchbox. He says, we're also in the luxury market, and if you're a buyer, this is a good time since everybody needs business and is grateful for the business. Elliot is in the very high-end audio business. I agree with you 100%. I think, once again, prices will go down a little bit, but to a reasonable level. Until it gets really bad, if it even comes to that, no one's really going to be dumping stock like that. Hey, Fed, do you think big retailers like Wempe or Booker will be affected by this? Kevin, I do. Listen, I worked for Wempe, fantastic company, very treated their employees extremely well. I can imagine, I don't know this for sure, but I imagine they're going to keep paying their employees even though they're closed, which I can tell you most US companies are not going to do that. And depending how long they're closed, yeah, that's a lot of cost, man. I think it will affect them. But I also think they're a big enough company to get out of it. I think right now liquidity is the name of the game, not only for the watch business, but for any business. Fedkin, collecting vintage watches, says, Fed, what can you tell viewers about these giant deals starting to advertise? We buy watches like crazy. That's just it. People think that some dealers think that the public is desperate for money and they're lowballing watches like crazy. That's a perfectly honest assessment. Not particularly my strategy at the moment, but I can tell you it is something that is absolutely happening. Let me see here. Trevor McElhaney, what would you recommend for a watch nerd more? A Rolex 18038 or a gold Bovet Sportster? Trevor, totally different watches, man. You got apples and oranges. The Bovet is a sporty chronograph. Rolex 18038, once again, very, very different. I think both are super cool. The Rolex will certainly hold value better, but I do think the Bovet is more interesting. Let me see here. Jolo Pookie, which market will suffer more, entry level or luxury? I say entry level more, just because I think people with a ton of wealth, it's going to affect everybody, but I think people with a ton of wealth will still have the money to spend, still have the liquidity, whereas people who live paycheck to paycheck or a little better than paycheck to paycheck, they want to treat themselves to $1,000 or $2,000 or $300 dollar watch. I think those people, unfortunately, are going to be hit a bit more. Let me see here. Chi-Town, California. Fed, what Panerai model do you recommend the most? My personal favorite's always been the PAM 111. The sandwich dial, yes, at a movement, but workhorse, classic design, sandwich dial. It's kind of the basic all-around Panerai. I own one myself. I absolutely love it. Jolo Pookie, are you planning to sell your personal watches because of the crisis? No, I am not. On a financial basis, I think I'm okay. I'm prudent. I do a lot of saving. I hope it doesn't come to that. But if it does, Watches are just objects. Joan Velis, good to see you. Good to see you again, buddy. Do you think brands that don't have a presence in the sub 10K range will have a harder time this year? Uh, well, obviously, the more diversified, I think the better chance you have of weathering the storm. But I think it's particularly brands who are entirely under sub 10K will be suffering significantly more. Elliot Goldman, how many employees are at Rolex and Patek? Elliot, that's a great question. Honestly, I have no idea. I mean, Rolex is a behemoth, thousands, I would say. But Patek, and this is completely a guess. I've really no clue, but I'd guess 300 to 400 worldwide. So definitely not a small company. Let me see here. Hey Fed, what are your thoughts on the Lange Saxonia Copper Blue Stars from Jake Kimmelman? Jake, I think it's absolutely beautiful. The Saxonia is one of the most slept on luxury watch models out there. With that dial, I mean, it's tough. It's tough. It's tough not to love. I also think in the future it really has some staying power and will hold value better than most Lange and better than most watches, simply because of that unique aspect. Lange is not exactly known for making a ton of limited editions, and I think when they do, people take notice. Maddie Molema, is there any news on how or when Rolex will release their 2020 models? Maddie's, I don't know. I think that's been entirely postponed since the factory closed. I imagine they're going to release them online through social media, their website, and press releases. But as to when that's going to happen, honestly, I really don't know. Let me see here. Michael Yazanovsky, does Delray watch ship to the EU? Yes, we do. Quite often, actually. Please note there are customs fees to pay, but we do ship to the EU all the time. SoCal Watch Reviews. How are you and John coping with the crisis? I'm going to be honest, Miami, it's not so bad right now. We're coping okay. As I said, we sent all the staff home. We're going to predominantly work from home. We're going to take it one day at a time. No reason to get down in the dumps just yet. It is what it is. What can we say? EMAD B, will we see Daytona's traded list? Absolutely not. At least not anytime soon, I don't think. Let me see here. Who else do we have? Let me see. New Sharma, 114060, no date sub, future classic. Keep up with the awesome work. I mean, I think it's a classic right now. It's a sub, right? So it's kind of hard not to be iconic. It's a little overshadowed by the date version, but I know a lot of people who prefer the no date sub because of the cleaner looking dial. Anthony Cortez, what watch would you recommend me to buy in the coronavirus recession? Honestly, just buy what you like, man. Watches aren't an investment, in my opinion. As long as you buy what you like, I think you're always safe. You see, reading the comments here. Ooh. Bastian Van Zon, how come the current Explorer 1 shows value increase on Chrono 24? It's a non-waiting list a model. Hey, Bastian, unfortunately, I think Chrono 24 is a great platform to buy and sell watches, but don't base market value on Chrono 24. I think much more realistically, you should go to Watch Recon, which is an aggregator of all the forums, Chronocentric, Time Zone, Rolex Forum, Watch You Seek. Type in the model there, and you can get a true idea of what they're selling for. BigZebra.com. Hey Federico, glad you are wearing a non-polo shirt. Way to take it up a notch. Hey, I actually wear non-polos quite frequently. All right, buddy. Like, let's not get mad at the Brooks Brothers. And this actually still is Brooks Brothers. Vintage Vincent Van Gogh. Love watch recon. I do too, man. Floating Man, which model are your glasses? They look great on you. These are actually very inexpensive. They're just Warby Parkers, the extra wide model. Maybe not the most high quality glasses in the world, but considering the price and if they come with lenses, can't really complain. I got a ton all over the place because I lose them all the time. BJJ Mark, hey Fed, who's that behind you with the knife? I can actually see behind me through the camera, so nice try. Manuel, something you dislike about Mosers? Manuel, I mean, Moser's not perfect. I do love them. I'd love to see them come out with maybe more intricate dials, which is exactly against their DNA. I mean, this is the cleanest dial out there, but one of the things I love about FP Journe is sometimes they have some quirky complications, and something I don't like about Moser is they don't really offer that a whole lot. So I would like to see them, do that at some point. Kobe says, Cartier Crash, what's your opinion? One of the most iconic watches in the world. Not particularly easy to wear because of the case shape, and it's very, very small. I would never be able to wear one, for example, but I would love to own it. I just think it's absolutely beautiful. Jake Kimmelman, Moser Tourbillon is one of the best buys out there. Jake, I agree with you, and I've got to shamelessly promote myself a second. We've got an H. Moser Pioneer Tourbillon on DelReyWatch.com right now, a limited edition of 50 pieces. And not only is it the cheapest one in the world by like 30%, but I don't know, man. I think it's a massive steal. If you guys want to either maybe buy it or just take a look at it because you're a watch geek, check out DelReyWatch.com and look for the H. Moser Pioneer Tourbillon. Absolutely beautiful. Jake Kimmelman says, I know you have it in stock. Well, thank you for the segue into the shout out. You really do have my back. Anyway, guys, just wanted to give you a little update on the watch news, which I'm sure you heard anyway, and a little bit of an update on me and Del Rey Watch. I do have to go now because I've got UPS picking up our last shipment in about 45 minutes, and I got to get it ready to go. But thank you, everybody, for joining me. Thank you particularly to Elliot and Josh for showing up. I will hope to live stream once again with Josh Thanos from Watchbox at some point. I just have to figure out the technical difficulties. We'll get that done. But guys, thank you everybody for joining me here today. I wish you all the best to you and your loved ones. Please take care of one another. Be kind to your neighbors in these times of needs. And, not being selfish goes a long way, particularly in times of crisis. Guys, thank you and take care.